Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much again for joining me here. I hope you're having a fantastic day. One more look here again at Solana before the day's over here. Trying to catch a look at it before the daily candlestick closes. And generally speaking, when I looked at this earlier today, the simple way to understand it is that Solana is very strong. It's still got a lot of macro signs that it wants to continue higher. But the truth also is that most coins, which you might see here in the charts, are screaming bearish divergence on smaller timeframes. And Solana is no exception, even though it's holding fairly well. It dropped pretty significant earlier when Bitcoin retested the low 63K range. And right now Bitcoin is pulling back. We'll see how that how that manages moving forward. But either way you look at it, we'll look at everything here. If you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. Not a financial advisor. Hope you can learn something today. If you do want to become a better trader, of course, CryptoCache.tech is a site link down below where you can follow my trade signals. Make sure you reference my academy as well. But the important thing to recognize here is that I got a new section here with trade alerts. These are trades I'm planning to take in the future, kind of give you a heads up on what's going on there. And then of course our university, make sure you read through that, watch that. I mean, it's all there for you folks so you can have a good understanding and good education on, proper trading techniques, because it's a lot more than just the charts that you see here. A lot of it's mental and things that you may not think are relevant, but they are. Okay, so let's look at the important stuff here. I think liquidation is always important to identify, just so we know kind of directions that the price may go. We're smack dab in the middle of a lot of liquidation. There's a ton above the price action. It's accumulating at 162 to 165, just as a range. And we got this lower range, 152 to 155. Okay, so $3 above, $3 below. There is technically more to the upside, which could imply we have further continuation upwards. But we do see $1, 2, 3, 4.5, $5.5 billion in liquidation if the price goes up to 165. The downside here, if we look at the price going down, we're looking about 3 billion. Okay, so a little bit more to the top. Either way you look at it, we're in a nasty range right now, and once we see a wick up or down, that'll tell us a lot. Between now and then, though, it's best to presume that the price will pull back with Bitcoin, but it also recovers well. In other words, when Bitcoin pulls back, it goes with it. But when Bitcoin just stabilizes and goes up a little bit, Solana has been kind of that strong recovery. It may not continue because that can only last for so long, but in the last 24 to 48 hours, we've seen that same response. So again, that's kind of where we're at here for Solana. And at this point, let's go ahead and take a look at some important stuff here. We're above all moving averages. Again, the 50-day SMA holding like the champ right there at 155. My anticipation is that 155 is the tentative bottom, maybe 154, 155, somewhere in that range. We do look at liquidation though. Technically, if it's going to go as low as 154, it'll probably go a little bit lower. Okay, so let's not be too naive and think it's just going to bounce instantly off of a moving average. That's not how things work, but that is a possibility. Stochastic is starting to swing down here on the daily, telling us we got a momentum shift on the horizon. We can see we're over 50 on the RSI, generally a bullish sign, and the macro overall being above all moving averages is extremely beneficial. So I think the price action pulling back to this 0.618 fib level is pretty lofty. That's where I'd like to get out of our trade. Honestly, we have a short trade open from Solana, and it took off right as soon as it broke this descending trend line a few days ago. And I wasn't there to be able to close it right away. I was expecting it to reject out of this 155 range, and it just continued higher. So sometimes that can happen. But again, we didn't get destroyed because we're using low leverage, and it's all good. But on the same accord, it's still something we need to figure out, and that would be an awesome point to get out. The truth is, I really want to probably close my trade somewhere in the 150 to 154 range, just so we can kind of get out with a small loss and essentially consider some other trades. We do have two short trades open right now in profit, Bitcoin and AVAX. So again, we'll offset that, of course, but generally speaking, it's kind of a nasty market, and Solana is no exception. So let's take a look at the 4-hour time frame and see what's going on. We're still over 50 on the RSI. Most coins have broken bearish to the downside on the RSI. They're pretty low. Having said that, though, we have more room for downside here, but still more support too. Okay, so I think that just kind of reaffirms that support in the 153 to 155 range. We've got a fair value gap down as low as 150. That would be a kind of a better case scenario for us. I do think 0.5 is probably a best case scenario for us here for a pullback. If we can get down to 150, be very happy with that. We look at MACD, it's still diverging here. 4-hour time frame still looking not so good. But the thing you got to recognize, even though we're breaking below the 20-day SMA as we speak, we still got a lot of moving averages below the price. So that's actually a very positive sign. Looking at the hourly, let's quickly recognize the Ichimoku cloud and confirm that we are breaking within. Lagging span is now free and clear, and the conversion line is pressed against the baseline. So generally, this is 1 out of 3 reasons to consider a short position or to close your long in profit. Or consider waiting, which is probably the best recommendation here. Because the truth is, when you're within the cloud, you're not supposed to trade much at all. And you want to wait for a break below or above. So ideally the price comes over here. This might be a good consideration for a short. Comes up here, some consideration for a long. It's not that black and white, but that's roughly what we're looking for. So right now at this point, we literally just have a big old nope, don't trade this right now, okay? That's kind of where we're at. So generally, the overall sentiment here is that with Bitcoin pulling back like it is, it really makes a lot of sense to not take any long positions. If you're going to take a long position, just say for example with Solana, maybe consider buying, one of these lower price points that may never happen, okay? I'd much rather wait for an opportunity that never occurs than to jump into a bad trade. So again, that's just me personally. Have I taken plenty of bad trades in my life? Of course, I still do. I'd still do it, but they happen less often just because I primarily like to use confirmation. And at this point here, the way to confirm a trade is to wait for it. So we're not there yet. We're getting there. I hope that makes sense. I appreciate you watching. Thanks so much again for your time. We'll look forward to seeing the next one. If you want to become, again, a better trader, CryptoCache.tech is a site link down below. We'll see you in the next one. Have yourself a great rest of the day. Thank you.